Hello everybody, today we are going to do points of concurrency constructions. So let's start by talking about points of concurrency. First off, you need to know which one goes with which. The best way to remember that is the right angle ones are the long words, the non-right angle ones are the short words. So the long words are circumcenter, orthocenter. The shorter ones are centroid in center. So the right angle ones are altitudes and perpendicular bisectors. The non-right angle ones are angle bisectors and medians. Once you get to that point, vowel starts with vowel, consonant starts with a consonant. So right angle one, orthocenter, starts with a vowel, altitude starts with a vowel. Circumcenter, right angle one, starts with a consonant. Perpendicular bisector starts with a consonant. Short ones, non-right angle ones, in center starts with a vowel, angle bisector starts with a vowel. Centroid, non-right angle, starts with a consonant. Median starts with a consonant. So, altitudes, let's start here. Medians, not right angles. Consonant, I'm looking for a short word with a consonant. Boom, centroid. Altitudes, right angles, starts with a vowel. Orthocenter. Perpendicular bisector, right angles, so it's a long word, starts with a consonant. Long word starts with a consonant. Angle bisectors, no right angle, short word, starts with a vowel. Boom. I'm going to skip this next part because we don't really need it for what we're about to do. And let's get right into some constructions. So let's start with circumcenter. Circumcenter, long word, so it's right angles, starts with a consonant, perpendicular bisectors. So in order to find the circumcenter, I need to construct two perpendicular bisectors. So at this point, you should know how to construct a perpendicular bisector. If you don't, then go back and watch that video. I draw equal arcs from each endpoint. I connect the intersections with a straight edge. So that's one. I like to use different colors because these can get a little bit confusing. I'm going to do BA now. It does not matter which two sides you do. I'm going to go more than half of the line segment. I'm going to go to the other endpoint. I'm going to draw in my perpendicular bisector. Now, the intersection of my perpendicular bisectors, that's my circumcenter. So where my two perpendicular bisectors intersect, that's my circumcenter. Now there's an application of the circumcenter. I use the circumcenter in order to find a circumscribed circle. So to do a circumscribed circle, I'm going to start by constructing the circumcenter. So I'm going to find two perpendicular bisectors. In fact, you know what? I just did it, so I'm not going to do it again. I'm just going to go back to this. Once I have the circumcenter, I'm going to measure the distance to one of the vertices, and I'm going to swing a circle. And if I did it right, it should hit all my vertices. And if it doesn't, if it's close, count it. Boom, there's my circumscribed circle. I have the triangle inscribed within it. That's it. So to construct a circumscribed circle, I find the circumcenter. I measure out the exact distance from one of the vertices, and then I draw my circle. So that's circumcenter and circumscribed circle. Now let's talk about in-center and inscribed circle. So we're going to do the in-center and we're going to do the inscribed circle. So for circumscribed circle, I find the circumcenter, and for inscribed circle, I find the in-center. So what is the in-center? It's a short word, so it's not right angles. It starts with a vowel, so it's my angle bisectors. So I'm going to construct a couple of angle bisectors. If you don't know how to do an angle bisector, well, watch that. I draw an arc that hits twice. From each of those points, I draw equal arcs. I connect it to the vertex, and make sure you extend it through because we're going to need to touch a side later on. Now, I'm going to do another angle bisector. Whenever I do this, I'm going to be honest, it tends to not be perfect. Let's hope that this time I do better, and if I don't, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. All right, so I connect the vertex. And the point where the two angle bisectors hit, that's the in-center. I'll just leave it with an I. So that's the in-center construction. Now, if I want the inscribed circle, I'm going to measure out the distance from the in-center, not to the vertices, but to a point on the triangle. So I'm just going to follow one of the lines to where it hits the triangle. And now is when I hope for the best. Not bad. I got it a little bit off here. And listen, if your construction marks are correct and it's a little bit off, you're not going to lose points as far as the regions goes. So I found the in-center, the intersection of the two angle bisectors. And once I did that, I measured the distance not to the vertices, that's for circumscribed, but to a point on the side of the circle, and I swung it from there. All right, we got two more. Centroid, short word, not right angles, consonant, consonant. I need to construct two medians. So a median is a line segment from a vertex to a midpoint. So I'm going to start by finding the midpoint of two of the sides using the perpendicular bisector construction. I draw an equal arc. You might be thinking that I'm bold, not only for doing a pen for a construction, but also where I'm recording it. Yes, I'm bold. Now, a median is a line segment from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So this right there is your median. I'm going to now do it again. I've got above and below. Go to the other endpoint. I'm doing the perpendicular bisector. For AB. I draw that in. Now the median I need, that gave me the midpoint of that side. For the median, I need to connect it to the opposite vertex. So there's a lot going on here, but the intersection of my medians is right there. That's vertex to midpoint, that's vertex to midpoint, that is my centroid. There's no circles that are involved with this. That only applies to inscribe for in-center and circumscribe for circumcenter. This is just what it is. Oh, that's great. Lights. Yay, the lights are back. And finally, orthocenter, long word, right angles, vowel, vowel. Orthocenter is the intersection of the altitudes. So I need to construct a couple of altitudes. That's your smiley face construction. So I'm going to put my eye on A, and I'm going to swing an arc that hits the opposite side twice. I can, and I probably will need to, extend the opposite side. There's no problem with that. Now, from each of those, I'm going to swing equal arcs. I want to connect that to point A. And there's my altitude. Now I'm going to do it for another side. I'm going to go B to AC. So B to AC. Again, I'm going to extend the line. From each of these, I'm going to swing equal arcs. There. And there. I'm going to connect that to vertex B. And there I have my altitude. Where the altitudes intersect, that is my orthocenter. So, can I sum up? I think I got everything here still. A little out of order. We've got the vocabulary, short words, non-right angles, long words, right angles, perpendicular forms right angle, altitudes are right angles, consonant, consonant, vowel, vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel, vowel. So to construct a circumcenter is a long word. It starts with a consonant. I need two perpendicular bisectors. I found my two perpendicular bisectors. I found the intersection of them. From there, if I want a circumscribed circle, I take the again, key here, the circumcenter, I measure out the exact distance to one of the vertices, and I swing my circle. Then we talked about in-center and inscribed. For in-center, short word, vowel, vowel, it's the angle bisectors. I constructed two angle bisectors. I found the intersection of them. I don't measure to the vertice, I measure to one of the sides where the angle bisector hit one of the sides. I measure that distance and I swing my circle. That's the inscribed circle, but the in-center is just the intersection of the two angle bisectors. We then talk about the centroid, short word, non-right angles, consonant, consonant, the intersection of the medians. I did my median construction, my perpendicular bisector to find my midpoint, connected it to the opposite vertex, did the same thing in pencil. Where those intersect, that's my centroid. And finally, for orthocenter, long word, right angles, vowel, vowel, I have to construct two altitudes. That's your smiley face construction. From A, I drew my smiley face. From those points, I drew equal arcs. I connected it to vertex A. That's my altitude. I did the same thing in pencil from B to AC. And where the altitudes intersect, that's your orthocenter. That's it. You have to know the vocabulary. You have to know how to do the constructions. If you do, you should be able to get these correct. If you don't, that's unfortunate. Goodbye.